Hello internet friends, Napyet here with a review of Battlefront 2. After playing roughly 50 hours of the game, I really put a lot of time in. I wanted to figure out exactly how much of the game is broken and how much of the problems with progression and star cards and microtransactions really affect gameplay. So I really ground out a lot of hours in this game. I've basically been doing nothing else in my downtime except playing Battlefront 2. So this is my perspective and a review of the game based on that. It really is a shame that so much of this game relies on a kind of a random progression system and potentially microtransactions to make up the shortfall in that randomness, speed up the time that you can unlock things, because the game itself is actually really good. Star Wars has never looked better than this, in my opinion. It looks fantastic. The character models, the environments, the worlds, it's really, really immersive and excellent in that respect. And the sound design is great. I mean, it's Star Wars, isn't it? But the feeling of being a trooper in a Star Wars battle is absolutely there. I had this feeling at one point, like if I had been like 12 years old when this game came out, I would have just like, that's it. There's no point in playing games anymore. This is the pinnacle. I'm in a Star Wars movie. It's amazing. From my limited perspective with FPS and multiplayer FPS, the original game seemed like a lot of the arguments and complaints about that game were that the gunplay and the actual PvP multiplayer was really kind of janky and not very rewarding for kind of skillful play in that you could shoot at people and your aim didn't really matter as long as you were kind of vaguely in the area. This time around, it seems like if you take the time to aim and you take the time to position properly, you're rewarded for doing that. So the game seems to reward, at least me, better for skillful play than just running around like a headless chicken, shooting everything that moves. It seems like there's more opportunity to be skillful in this game if you are that way inclined. Having said that, it does have all the same problems that I felt were there in Battlefront with the multiplayer, and I'm not sure how much of this is true of things like, well, it's not Overwatch because that's a team game. Yeah, Battlefield and Call of Duty. How much of this is true of those games as well, I don't really know. But when I'm playing the multiplayer, I kind of feel like, I mean, no one communicates, and basically everyone, you're on a team, but you're all kind of there doing your own thing. You kind of generally get a gist of where you're supposed to go, but you're all kind of solo together. You're all solo players in a big playground together, running around trying to do these objectives. But there's very little sort of sense of coherence. I don't think that's a fault necessarily of Battlefront, but it doesn't do anything to encourage you to work together necessarily. It kind of just allows you to go around and experience multiplayer, but you're not really working together. I mean, I turn the chat off just because it's full of people trolling and just calling each other names, basically. I've never looked at chat and thought, that's an interesting tactical insight at this stage in the game. Apart from anything else, no one's got time to type in chat when you're fighting. And the randomness is still there. Like, no matter what you do, you'll just get shot in the back of the head half the time. You can't see everywhere around you. You don't know what's going on. So it can be incredibly frustrating sometimes. You know, you've got a good position, you're shooting the enemy, and someone runs up behind you. Bang, pistol in the head. So that's the main frustration of the multiplayer for me, and it was of Battlefront 1, and it's still there in Battlefront 2. Having said that, the maps are really interesting. I find the maps more intriguing than the previous game, and they kind of just seem to put more of a twist on things. I said this in my first impressions as well, but they seem to be more immersive. The environments are gorgeous. The Tatooine map and all the little details of the stalls and the marketplace and how it's designed. It's really, apparently the map is kind of Lucasfilm approved. That is the layout of Tatooine in that time frame and Mos Eisley in that time frame. That's amazing. And Maz's castle in Takodana is great. The interior of that, all the little knickknacks on the you're running around trying desperately to survive, but it would be really nice to be able to take a breath and just look at these environments that they've created. And that ties into something that I am particularly kind of missing, and it's to do with EA's exclusivity of the Star Wars license, and the fact that the emphasis has been Battlefront 1, now Battlefront 2, multiplayer, FPS, PvP. We still don't have a narrative since the acquisition of Lucasfilm by Disney and the acquisition of an exclusive license from EA to produce Star Wars games. We still don't have a narrative Star Wars game to play. We don't have a single player Star Wars game. And in this game, the single player elements of Battlefront 2 are a little bit better. You've got the arcade mode, you've got a mode where you can play various scenarios based in different time frames with some of the hero characters. So that is there, and I've really been enjoying that. Those are the bits that I'm enjoying the most. Oh, and of course the campaign, which I'm kind of halfway through at the moment. It's very simple, straightforward. I don't think there's much depth to the campaign, but the story is there. You see, in so many ways, it's an improvement on the original one. A lot of the things that people picked out of the original, no single player campaign, the kind of so-so-ness of the PvP combat has been improved. The Starfighter combat, amazing. It feels great to play that now. It was horrible flying in the original game. Now it's actually a fun experience. So much has been improved with the gameplay, the graphics, and some of the features. We are so starved for a single player experience that the arcade mode and the campaign seem like, I don't know, like water to a starving man. Those are the things that I've been enjoying absolutely the most. You can take your time. I can look at the characters. I can really appreciate the animations of all the heroes and the lightsaber combat and the variety of the heroes. They're really interesting and they have different skills and each one feels different to the next. It's great. I guess I just want more single player stuff, and Battlefront 2 is not primarily single player, but they've really filled in that gap from the original one. But I can't not talk about progression and star cards for much longer in a review without mentioning it, and it is a problem. So how long does it take with you to unlock some of the stuff that you want if you're not going to pay any money into this game? Well, I've played 50 hours, and primarily my favorite character is the assault character, the assault class, and I have unlocked all the guns and all the power-ups for that class at this stage. Bear in mind, this is 50 hours, very, very focused on that goal. So I would play entire matches without swapping to heroes, without swapping to a different class. I've done a little bit, but mainly I've really focused in on, I want to unlock all the guns and all the power-ups for that class. And I've done it, I would say, in about 45 hours, and I'm a mediocre player. If you were a good player, because you get rewarded for, you unlock the guns through kills, and kills with the specific gun that you want, you could do that a lot quicker. So you could potentially do this in about 25 hours maybe. But that is still a long time to unlock all the guns, and basically imagine that, and that is one character. Imagine that multiplied by the four main classes. You want to unlock all the guns. You're looking at 20, 40. Say you're a really good player, you can unlock all the guns of a specific class in 20 hours. 20, 40, 60, 80 to unlock all the guns. 80 hours, it's out of it. It's obvious at this stage that it's entirely out of whack, and this is from an MMO player who is used to grinding. I ground out the Jedi class in the Star Wars Galaxies MMO years ago, which took weeks and weeks and weeks. I actually, there's some kind of perverse side of me likes the grind, so I'm okay with this. I find it kind of like just brainless, and just switch your brain off and grind. It's a good thing to sort of relax and just, alright, I've got this goal, it's a very simple goal, I'll just repeatedly do this thing until I achieve it. So I'm used to it, and I kind of weirdly enjoy it in a way. But even for someone having said that, the amount of time it takes is far too long. Now, those are the guns. So if you want to unlock the guns, the star cards are a different matter entirely. On the assault, I have the 3-star cards say that I want the most up to the blue level. That's the level below the top. You get some blue cards in crates. You never get the top level, the purple, in a crate, so you have to craft those, and those, to go from blue to purple, you need 400 plus crafting parts, I believe it is. So they are very, very expensive to get up to the next level. I'm going to have to play an awful lot to get enough crafting parts to do anything and get those cards up. Also bear in mind that that is one class. You know, if you get such a small amount of credits and crafting parts for opening your crates, you get very little in the crates, and you get so little reward having played a match, that it will take an awful long time. So I think that just a lot of this could be done with just decreasing the amount the amount that things cost. It's incredibly huge amount you need to pay in order to unlock this stuff. If you have a specific character maybe, or set of star cards that you want, you could probably grind those out in a reasonable amount of time. But if you want everything that's locked behind this progression system, you want all the unlocks for all the characters, it will take an insane amount of time. And I can see absolutely that this is designed to encourage you to pay for crates to try and speed that up. I don't mind microtransactions necessarily. I wish they were all just customization. I don't know why. Well, I do know why companies want to tie rewards to things that improve your, alter the gameplay. Don't reward us by giving us an unfair advantage. Make all that stuff free and readily available to everyone. And then the people who want to pay, you can come up with stuff that doesn't alter the gameplay as reward. I'm not even a really good player who wants to prove he's the best at everything. But I would buy customization options. I would buy a different costume. Absolutely. But I'm not going to buy anything that destroys the sense of progression in the game. And I'm not going to buy anything to give myself an unfair advantage. That just feels wrong. So I'm not the target for this. And actually, the people who buy the crates, you're not guaranteed to get the cards that you want anyway, and you'll get a small, tiny amount of credits once you start getting duplicates even. It's still a small amount, so it's still going to take a long time if you pump money into this game. EA's taken the step of turning off microtransactions at this stage. Where are we? We're in November 2017. So we'll see whether they turn that back on or they're going to put a new system in place. I don't really know. But I'm of the opinion that if you paid £60 for this game, they shouldn't be asking you to then pay more to unlock the stuff that is not unlocked for you already. Progression is important, but it shouldn't be so horrible as it is in this particular game. And it's so horrible in order to make you pay more money. And that seems, it muddies the water, and it gives you not a nice taste in the mouth of just being, this is Star Wars. This is Star Wars, and it should be fun, and it should be an enjoyable and joyous experience, and this kind of practice doesn't make you feel like that. It makes you feel exploited and not good. So yeah, I mean, that's my opinion on it. Now, having said all that, am I still going to play it? Yes, I'm still going to play it. I've paid my £60. I'm not going to ask for a refund. I'm not going to pay for anything microtransactions, and I'm going to play the game. I want to play a Star Wars game, and going back to that point about why there are no narrative games and why there are no more single player options for people, maybe that's part of it. My only option at the minute is to play Battlefront 2. And if that is what they're thinking, that's not nice either. I mean, these AAA games are trending towards microtransactions, towards this kind of very light, I would call it almost like a theme park experience, where that kind of guided narrative and the one-off payment, you pay for a story, you play through the story, and then you move on to the next thing, is going away more and more. And I'm not someone who necessarily jumps on the bandwagon of let's hit this thing over the head, because I like to take a balanced view, but I do feel like this is spoiling the enjoyment of this particular game for me, and it's not something that I'm particularly happy about in other games. But I'm going to play it. I'll find enjoyment in it. And like I say, I'm enjoying the arcade mode and doing some stuff with that. I enjoy unlocking the guns and just mindlessly grinding in the main game. And I enjoy the Star Wars universe. They've really done a fantastic job of getting that Star Wars universe across to you and making it feel like Star Wars. So I want to play it for that reason, but the downsides are definitely there. The problems are definitely there. Could you buy it and enjoy it? Yeah, absolutely you could, as long as you don't worry about progression and you don't find the fact that they're trying to nickel and dime you too morally corrupt. I think that's my overall opinion. Feeling is, it seems to be unrealistic expectations on the part of these large companies, the amounts of money that they want these games to rake in over time. And that is changing the landscape of AAA gaming, so that, a moderately successful game seems like a failure to companies. Well, just make 2 or 3 moderately successful games instead. Why do you have to make one huge cash cow game that will bleed your customers dry? Value for money is an important commodity. Be a company that provides value for money. Customer loyalty is important. It seems like these companies have just got so divorced from the actual person who buys these games that they feel they can get away with doing this stuff. Well, you've lost empathy at that point for your actual customer base, I think, and you're just treating them like money generators, like batteries that are powering your company. But if you're pissed off with AAA gaming, absolutely have your say. But don't forget that you don't have to buy these games. You never have to buy these games, and you can show your displeasure by not buying them and buy something else. There are many games that are not these AAA cash cow microtransaction games that you can buy instead. Go to Steam and search in the genre that you want. They will pop up, and read some reviews by trusted reviewers, and you will get options. You'll get tons of options, alternatives that are, great looking games that don't do this type of thing. So I don't like the practice of microtransactions. I don't like the artificially elongated progression, which makes you want to buy things. That sucks up time. If you're not cash rich, it just sucks up time. I don't like that, but also I want to play a Star Wars game, so it just makes me feel bad that they know that, and that's why they think, right, well, we'll translate that loyalty, that desire on the part of our customers to play Star. We'll exploit the fans of Star Wars. Because we know they love Star Wars so much, they'll still play it. Well, I'm not going to buy your microtransaction bullshit. I'm just going to play it on my downtime when I feel like it, just to experience Star Wars and excuse my French, fuck off with your microtransaction bullshit. Alright, thanks for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Nap out.
No.